It's a terrible thing to be hungry, but it's a way worse thing to be dry.
There is a podcast in Iowa, Farm4Profit was named by they. Fate stirred up a banker near, then quick came an auctioneer. Making profit was their first goal, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go. These formats shook us to our core. With Farm4Fun, you will not snore. The banker set all mics to on, and the mullet of podcasts was born. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go. Before we knew, conversations grew. Row and Corn even said F you. So won't you join Tenor, Dave, Corey, and crew? Please like, share, review. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go.
Welcome back to the Farm4Profit podcast. This is Tanner Winterhoff.
This is Corey Hillebo.
And we're Daveless today.
Happens sometimes.
Running around making deals.
Yeah, he sold 340 acres today.
Yeah, I'd say he's probably got a little bit going on. But that's
a lot of money.
That's fine. Thank you, listeners, for joining us. We're happy to have you here. Don't forget to share this with your friends and family. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave that listener review behind. We love your listener reviews. And of course, as always, Corey, if they have a topic to share or a guest idea, send it to farm4profitllc@gmail.com.
Yeah. And our listener reviews is one way we stay connected with our listeners, and Outback wraps are the only tool to not mess up when you're connecting your hydraulic hoses. So,
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you can use the code, and this is the largest discount that they give anybody. Farm4Profit gets you 20% off at outbackwrap.com.
That's good through the end of 2021. So go to outbackwrap.com. But this has got to be like a childhood crush on Corey that left this review.
You're reading this one because it is a page.
Yes, it is from Fine Like Wine. They left us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, so thank you for doing that. I have been digging this podcast for a long time now, and it reminds me of when I worked in the wine industry. The winemaker used to always say, "Have some patience, young man. Remember, fine wine gets better with time." The podcast just gets better and better. The banker and the auctioneer are great, but that farmer Corey guy puts this podcast over the top.
I bet my mom wrote that.
I was thinking one of your childhood sweethearts, somebody that is
pissed all them off.
Definitely fine over Corey. But no, thank you for leaving that listener review and giving us 5 stars. We appreciate that all the time. Why don't we jump into the introduction of our guests today?
Today on the Farm4Fun podcast, we have a surprise pair in studio. They came down from the frozen tundra, not quite the frozen tundra, but way up there in North Dakota, eh?
That was awful.
I'm shooting from the hip here, guys. They came to town for an agronomy conference. They won a contest that they didn't even know that they were in Ames, Iowa. It's the guys that host Agronomist Happy Hour, and they are the organizers of Agronomy on Ice.
There you go.
Mr. Jason and Kyle, welcome.
All right. Woo, we need Dave's.
All right.
Dave always does that.
And like I said, guys, I was not ready for this. This was thrown together not last minute. We knew we were getting together weeks ago, but we did not know we were getting on the mics until earlier this week. We've been busy, so haven't had time. Welcome to the show, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming down. Or over, or up. I guess you came up today.
We actually came up today.
Yeah.
You did, yeah. Probably most of the time you guys go down, right?
Yeah, you go.
Yeah, most of the time.
You go east or you go south.
You can't go much farther north.
So let's start with Jason here. Let's get a little bit about your background, and then we'll go to Kyle, and then we'll get into it.
So it's Jason Hansen, not to be confused with the Detroit Lions kicker.
Is
right?
that still the Detroit Lions kicker?
I don't know. I feel like that kicked forever out there.
Still probably holds the record for Detroit Lions points, right?
It's got to be. But anyway, yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I grew up in the Devil's Lake, North Dakota area, graduate of NDSU, and have spent my time in crop consulting and ag retail. I run my own business now. And I've been in the business since 1992. And married, got 4 kids, all relatively older. My youngest is 20, about to be 21. My oldest is 28. Yeah, I've been kicking around doing this agronomy thing for a while now. And my cohort here, Kyle, he's the one who got me into podcasting and down to Iowa. And now here we are sitting with you drinking beer. So
I'm surprised you still hang out with him if he's the one that got you into podcasting. It's one of those groups that, like, once you get in, we were just talking about Tim Hamrich. It's one of those things where once you're in, there's no clear out. When do you stop? You just do it forever.
I know. Yeah.
Wasn't
Joe,
that-
you're dead.
That was Tim's tweet here.
Yeah.
There with his 8-year-old son.
Yeah. Are you going to do this forever, Dad? Or until you die or something like that?
He's contemplating life choices.
So you got all the kids kicked out of the house, it sounds like?
I got one left in college. The rest are out, and he's going to go to grad school. So it's just me and my wife and this really mean kitten that we've saved, Barn Cat.
Really
He's
mean
just-
kitten.
Yeah, it's like he's just this little.
That is not where I thought he was going to go. And it's really mean. And I was thinking like mother-in-law or something else. And he said kitten.
And
Wow.
that's kind of where we're at. So
I got to point out, too, you are in shorts.
Oh yeah.
It is the coldest day of the year, I feel like it, down here that we have had. I mean, we've been out. It is sunny.
It was a feel like of 12 today.
Yeah, but it's windy and just bone chilling, and he's in shorts. So
No, that's how it is. That's how I do it. I showed up at the first day of the conference. I kind of thought, I don't know if anybody's ever worn shorts at this conference because there's like ties, there was suits, there was sport coats, and then there was me. But that's okay. That's just what I do.
That's all right. Nobody will forget you.
Yep.
But before we forget, Kyle, the Okie. Now, your username is Okie from Muskogee. You're not really.
I'm really not from Muskogee.
Okay.
but the last name goes with it.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, the whole username thing, why I chose that is because you will never mispronounce my last name.
That's right.
That's right. Everyone knows how it's pronounced at that point. So, same thing. I did not grow up in North Dakota, though. But I've been in North Dakota now for, it's over 10 years now. But grew up in western Minnesota. And grew up on a small farm there, a lot of my family farms.
So like Red River Valley?
Yeah, Red River Valley,
Yeah.
right outside of Fargo. Maybe a 20-minute drive would get you anywhere in Fargo from where I grew up. So grew up in that area. Once went to college, got an agronomy degree eventually. That was not my original plan. Went that direction through some advice of my grandfather who was farming at the time. Met a job recruiter. He goes, "Where do you want to live?" I go, "I don't want to be in the Minnesota. I don't want to be in the valley. Take me somewhere west." He goes, "We're going to be buddies." Got me out west. And, what did I spend? 5 years in ag retail, worked for a farmers cooperative, and as an agronomist for ag retail. I'm sure you guys know, you kind of wear a lot of hats.
Oh, yeah.
You do it all. Went from that, and now I am a technical agronomist for a national egg distribution company.
You're not working together. The podcast is together.
Right.
Correct.
But you're not working together.
No, we do not work together.
We used to work together.
Ah.
Yeah.
So that was the connection.
At the co-op? Or
Nope. Where I currently am employed.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, so you left.
They left me.
They left you. Well, you don't. I mean, hey, this is your narrative. If you want to say you told them to shove it, you can.
Everybody says, I should write the story of your life. I'm like, that's fine, but just let me illustrate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty good. I like that. But this is special for us. So before we get too much further, because we've already opened them, you brought us presents. So we always like to try and have a little fun on our Farm4Fun shows. A little different than the Profit Show. I don't know if we hit that in the beginning. I think we got off on that. Profit Show is going to have a What's Working in Ag segment and a general topic to help your farm achieve higher levels of profitability. And fun, we get to learn about the people that are around here. So you guys brought beer all the way down from North Dakota.
We did.
So tell us about what we've got that we've been drinking
Well,
on
first
so far.
off, thanks to Dahl Distributing for letting us take a week off.
Oh, there you go.
Nice save
Yeah, for sitting back. Yep.
Oh, that's nice. Yes, for being understanding, for being
Yeah.
flexible.
Yep.
Well, this is, I'll let Kyle defer to this because, and the good news is because it is the coldest day of the year, this is pretty cold beer down here. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was our biggest fear was, are we going to be able to keep this beer cold? That's important.
You could have just put it outside. It was, this is the best time of year because you could just have the beer in the back of the truck, and it stays cold.
And that is where we left it.
Yeah.
So,
I think I saw one of those. There was a tweet that said, "This is the best time. It's porch beer season.
Yep.
Just leave the beer in the porch."
Yep.
So this first one we brought, I don't know if it was on your Snapchat account from Egg Mafia or if it was through the podcast, but someone we know pretty well brought up that you need to try this beer from Drecker Brewing in Fargo. And so Drecker Brewing is pretty famous in town. They're one of the original ones. I don't think they are the original in town, but they're probably one of the most popular ones. Huge building when you go in there. I think, what do they call that? The Brew Halla?
Yeah.
Now it's a giant building. It's got a bunch of pinball machines. It's got a big beer hall venue area. They do concerts. They brew absolutely excellent beer. We obviously like IPAs quite a bit, but I think what they're really famous for is their sours.
Okay.
So you drink a sour from these guys, and what they call their seltzers, it's called a seltzer, but they're kind of like their sours, and it's like drinking a fruit smoothie.
Really?
Is the best way to explain it. It's like super thick, but obviously this one isn't that. I think
This one looks intimidating. The drawing on the can is a bunch of zombies.
I think it's a goblin with
Or a goblin.
skulls. I like the Drecker logo with the Viking and the beard. And that's a hop, isn't it? Isn't his beard like a hop too? Maybe?
That might be. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that was a coincidence or not.
You know, it does. It looks a lot like it.
Yep.
This is a very thick IPA.
I opened it,
Which
and
is
it hits you in
characteristic
the
of-
nose right away.
Yep. And their facility is, I've had people that have gone down there and they said, if you've ever watched the movie Harry Potter and how the set is, that's kind of the feel of this brew hall they got. It's just, it's very...
That is a good way to explain it.
I don't know if it's Nordic mystic or whatever. They do very well. And a lot of their artwork is kind of like this.
Oh, their artwork's all like this.
Yeah.
I like to explain it like it's an Iron Maiden album art.
Yeah, it does. Did we say the name? Is it Ectogasm?
Yeah, Ectogasm.
Ectogasm. India Pale Ale. And it's good. It's smooth.
Pale 2-row flaked oats, Cara foam, whatever that is, and malted oats.
7% ABV.
Yeah, that's a great amount of active ingredient. So if you're an agronomist, that's pretty good. Yeah. And that Citra and the Mosaic hops is that really gives it that kind of juicy kind of flavor to it.
We got to get Dave in here to give us a reaction because he turned his nose up pretty quick.
Normally we pour like little drinks, but we each got a tall boy here. So now we have to finish this till we get to the next one.
We're going to be here all night.
3 pee breaks.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, we'll get a lot of tunes in today. I typed in ectogasm into Google, and it's not pulling
Hopefully
up.
on Dave's computer, not yours.
No,
The bank's going to kick you out.
It's on mine.
And this website art kind of looks similar to the can. Though.
Right, it does. And I think that's what I was coming up with is some definitions around it's got to be art related. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, they do well. There's Fargo Moorhead. There's probably 4 or 5 breweries there right now.
Popular ones, yeah.
Yep, that do really well. So, I mean, we're agronomists, and both our territories we deal with a lot of 2-row barley, and this market is big on that, and so we kind of like to support the craft brewery market. I mean, we'll support any brewery as long as they're supporting North Dakota agriculture, But
And last I checked, there's always barley and beer, so
Yeah.
we're always doing our farmers a favor.
And let's pitch the podcast again because I don't know if we got that out very clearly in the intro. So it's the Agronomist Happy Hour by Rock and Roll Agronomy. Is that how how do people find the podcast?
you'll just go to Apple or Stitcher or wherever and just type in agronomists. It's plural, Agronomist Happy Hour, and it should pull up. And it's Kyle Oakey and myself, Jason Hansen, that do it. And we just put it out. We try to do it weekly, I guess.
Right.
I don't know, sometimes when we're in a pinch, the busy season, we try to keep current events during our season. So during the crop growing season, we're probably down to shorter sessions. And then when we get into different topics, we bring in guests. And so we'll have a lot of guests now through the winter and try to expand out outside of North Dakota because people get kind of, even if you're from North Dakota, you kind of get tired of that. You want to hear some different things from all over.
Right,
I mean,
so-
it's surprising that people would get tired if you're from North Dakota.
Yeah. How far do you guys live from each other?
Probably a good 5 hours.
So you're
Oh, no
Yeah.
kidding.
you're all
Yep.
virtual. You're zooming into
It depends. But yeah, a lot of it has been virtual.
Okay.
Yep, through Zoom. Yep.
I commend you for that. You know, having a guest on Zoom is fine. You know, when we interview someone, we have a lot of in-studio things that help us flow. And
Right.
being virtual as a guest can, you know, talk over each other and all that.
Yes.
And, yeah, that can.
It makes it tougher. So we started with minimal equipment, did it via Zoom. I think we had like the video gamers headgear and all that.
Yeah.
And we found there's limitations with the audio and all that. And since I've upgraded to better microphones and the right soundboards or mix board, and we're figuring it out as we go. And now we're able to do it in person. And actually, I'd say we're running about 50-50 on in person. And it works into this time of year because we have things like this.
Oh, that'll put you together.
We're traveling around trying to do some. Well, for me, the territory I serve is the entire state, so I end up traveling quite a bit for my job, and so it'll just be one of those things where if we can meet in person, it's like, hey, Jason, what are you doing?
Yeah, where you at?
Let's. I'm going through this area. I know it's within, let's say an hour's drive of where he's at. It's like, can we make something happen?
Yeah.
Go stop somewhere. So that or we're actually at like some kind of conference or some kind of meeting together.
Right.
Yeah, it's not just swing over here 5.5 hours for a podcast.
No. Oh, it'd be cool if we were close enough to do that. We probably would work on something like you guys have, a studio where we could centrally meet. And
Yeah. Because I've listened, and those that have listened also, is beer becomes a feature, almost a staple in the Happy Hour podcast. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. We actually joke that this is our Happy Hour spinoff of our Farm4Profit shows for the same reason, to try and make it a little bit lighthearted and enjoyable for the listeners. But it is really fun to listen, and I can't remember which one of you usually tells your stories about how you found the brewery. But your trips must take 3 times as long as a normal trip for the number of stops that you make trying to find a brewery that's open.
Yeah, so
oh,
breweries,
that had to have been one of my stories.
that was your story, yeah. I mean, we're going to try to do something this winter where we've just got an idea. Like I know we don't have the amount of breweries that, say, probably Iowa or Minnesota has, but we're going to do a brew tour where we're going to go to the breweries. We're going to do podcasts live there, and then we're going to have a special certain amount of time where we'll have guests come in and you can just kind of hang out and have beers with, say it's Abby Wick at NDSU or Joe Eichley or Tom Peters, and you just got topics to discuss. So there's kind of a draw or to get people down to those businesses. And then we'll just talk about ag stuff, So that's we got that idea. But it's
Kind of like an in-studio audience.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
In that state, you got to have a plan because the weather is not, it's not as cold as it is here.
Yeah.
Right.
And we kind of had a soft run at what this brew tour might work like for us. So I think just getting some of the equipment and things figured out so we can actually capture what we're actually doing and recording, and then have that interactive piece with the crowd and all that. We actually did kind of a tour of sorts. It was a farmers cooperative in northeastern Montana that approached us, and we happen to know them very well. We're all good friends. Said, hey, we love the Happy Hour podcast. We really want to take that format of kind of what you do for Happy Hour and come and talk to our farmers. And so it was, they have, I think, 5 or 6 locations, but we stopped in 3 different locations.
Ah, yeah.
And it was kind of central. And the best part, if you've ever been to northeastern Montana, it is literally the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's what Dave would tell you. Yeah. He just got back from an elk trip. He wasn't northeastern. He was more central.
I'm not exactly sure, but he's from Montana.
There's a lot of Montana to drive through. There's elk in all of it, but yeah, I'm guessing he was somewhere probably, if he was in eastern Montana, it was like the Missouri Breaks or something like that, or he went to the mountains farther west. But yeah, the first stop, the farthest west for their territory, it was just a little bar. I think, what was it called? The
Silver Spoon.
Silver Dollar.
Silver Dollar, yeah.
Silver Dollar. And literally, you wouldn't slow down for this town because it was kind of off the road, but there's just kind of this S-curve. And the road, you slow down for it. You turn off, we're like, do we even know where the silver dollar is? No, but we'll figure it out. It's not very big.
Yeah.
It was like 3 or 4 blocks.
Nice.
We drove right to it.
Oh, that was it.
There it is.
That was the town.
Yep, that was the town. And the best part is their agronomy center location. So they've got their fertilizer plant, chem shed, and then literally an alley, boom, there's a silver dollar. Perfect. Sitting right there.
It's there to take care of the employees. That's what it is.
That sounds like a great idea because we're putting together an after harvest meeting. I sell some seed next week, and it's just like, man, what can we do to get guys there? Everyone's been to that agronomy or that after harvest deal, rah, this is our new hybrids and varieties. And, what can you bring to be different and fun to get people engaged? I mean, people have seen that stuff before. So this sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
We had great response.
Oh, my gosh, it was fun.
You just open it up to the crowd. Everybody gets a beer. You sit down, and some topic comes up, and then boom, you're going a certain direction, and down a rabbit hole you go, and you're going this way and back and forth. And
yeah, each one of those, it was I think they scheduled 2.5, 3 hours, and we ate up every bit of it, and then realized whoa, we got to get going. So it was a lot of fun.
And beer will bring a lot of people together.
Yeah.
Drinks, food will bring a lot of people together.
Absolutely, yeah. It was fun, and I think that's part of it. There was no PowerPoint, there was no handouts, there was no nothing. It was just a discussion, and people feel comfortable coming up to you and talking about whatever. If it's like, yeah, you know what, I'm looking for a hybrid that's this and that, there goes the conversation.
So you're going to keep doing it?
Yeah, we got requests to
keep going on this format, so we need to get a little more savvy on the technology side and figure out how we can capture that.
That's part
so
of
we're not doubling up on our efforts.
That's part of the reason we're here tonight is we're going to perform a lobotomy on you guys.
There you go. Bring it in. We're not going to have a whole lot there to take out.
It might look or sound like we know what we're doing, but believe me, it's
I think this is the smoothest setup has gone for us in a long time. Everything
I wasn't here.
Everything worked first try. Didn't have to hunt for cables. I think every podcaster would say the same thing. Unless you're working with a professional studio or publisher that you can just pop in and sit to a mic and leave. I think it's all a learning process.
Yeah. And when that thing goes on the road, it's crazy. it's meant to go on the road too.
That's awesome. Let's just take a quick little break here and recognize our partner, John Deere. So here's a message that Dave and I put together for you. They're minimizing risks on your farm, helping you improve your yields, and increasing your profit margins. In today's farming operations, the data is the key to achieving all of this, Dave.
It's no secret that data has been helping more and more farmers gain ground in their operation, and there's no better way to manage all of that data than through John Deere's Operations Center. As a leading farm management platform, John Deere is constantly and continuously fine-tuning the features in Operations Center to make it easier, faster for you to analyze all of that farm data.
Yeah, and within that Operations Center, you can collect and analyze all of your machine, field, and crop data year after year so you can make those data-driven decisions for your operation. You can set up field instructions for your machine operators, then push those instructions directly to that in-cab display straight from that Operations Center. Then your operators don't have to enter this information when they get to the field.
That is so cool. And with near real-time monitoring with the Operations Center, you can track the machine performance, the field work, and stay ahead of all the logistics to ensure the right work is being done at the right time. With all that yield data in Operations Center, you can analyze your total farm operations performance and make any changes for an even better next year.
And John Deere continues to make their Operations Centers your go-to place to gain ground in your operation. It's free to use. Just create an account at operationscenter.deere.com or download the mobile apps from the Apple app or Google Play stores. You can also see your local John Deere dealer for more information. Thank you to John Deere for being a proud partner of the Farm4Profit podcast. All right. Thanks, John Deere. That was a great addition to this podcast. But back to you guys. John Deere probably runs in the cold, but you, Jason, have put together an event that is in the extreme cold, and you actually get people to show up. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I live in a part of the state, Devil's Lake, and most of the meetings that I have to attend, I go east. So I go to Grand Forks, predominantly Fargo, or Bismarck, which is southwest. And I was like, why can't we get a meeting to come up here? And Devil's Lake's a smaller community, so you got hotel restraints and that kind of thing. And then it's just like, well, why don't we have the meeting on the lake in the winter? So I'd love to ice fish. And so the first Wednesday of February, we have this event. I just call it Agronomy on Ice. So it's kind of a play on words, right? A little bit. And we started in 2019. We had a blizzard that year, but we had probably 120 people show up.
In the middle of a blizzard in North Dakota.
Well,
Nothing else to do.
Right.
On the lake.
That is true. You are not wrong. Yeah. And we do it the first Wednesday because by Thursday, Friday, we start the high school girls basketball, there's wrestling, there's hockey, all that stuff. And so there's parents and their kids and commitments and things. And this kind of is the precursor to that. Last year was our third event. We were probably between 500 and 600 people. And the way the interest is this year, it wouldn't surprise me if we're somewhere between 800 and 1,000 people that'll show up this year.
Wow.
So I'm assuming the ice will hold. It just sounds like a lot of people, a lot of stuff.
It's like 4 foot thick up there.
It wasn't last year.
Surprisingly, that held up well last year, though.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. We didn't have much ice. We got by with about 18 inches of ice. We had a relatively warm winter, but we had very good quality. So you can have thick ice that's not that great, or you can have not as thick ice, but it's really good. And that's what we got. And we didn't have any problems. And it's a networking, it's like an ag meeting, it's like a tailgating type of event, and people just get together. We had some companies, your bigger companies in ag, that because of COVID couldn't attend because of their awareness to that. But there was a lot of people that are like, you know what? It's outside. It's on a lake. I don't care. I'm coming. I need to see people.
It's freezing freaking cold. I'm sure COVID would freeze right alongside it.
So well, actually, in the pig world, freezing is not good.
I know.
The disease continues on worse than in summer. But
that was, I attempted a bad joke. Thanks for ruining that one.
Yeah. I heard everything but fishing. So there's no fishing.
There's people there's people that come up and they think that's what it is because it's ice fishing and that type of thing. So that's why it's good to have Kyle along, because generally what happens is people will gravitate to the outside of the area that they clean off for us. Woodland Resort cleans off a big spot. People go out there and they realize, whoa, this isn't really about fishing. It's like, no, it's not. You can fish. That's great. But this year, we're actually going to have a fishing contest. And so Kyle came up with this idea that I think is going to be fairly popular.
And it is a little deceiving when you pull off the ice at Woodland Resort or pull onto the ice at Woodland Resort. You see this big village of ice houses. Imagine like you're watching the movie Grumpy Old Men.
I was just thinking that's what was rolling in my mind.
That's just like that. It's a giant ice village that shows up, and it's not uncommon. Like this one's maybe a little larger than others, and there's going to be a lot of people walking in and out of houses, in between houses, and into different types of shelter setups. So it tips you off. Maybe they're not fishing, but it's not that uncommon to see.
Yeah.
So people are like, oh, okay, yep, this must be a good fishing spot, because I think that's what a lot of people out there do. Is they go, oh, that's got to be the good spot right there. And so they go and set up. We're socially distant, and go set up and go fish.
Yeah.
And they'll find out, oh, this isn't very good fishing. And so the comment from everyone has been, There's a group of people that are showing up a day earlier going, hey, we need to go fishing now because this spot is just like the desert.
Yeah.
It's just no structure. It's deep water. It's a big flat basin. Nothing there. It's great for events like Agronomy on Ice. Not so great for fishing. It's definitely a drive-over spot.
Gotcha. So you're going to have like a contest now?
It's actually the Agronomist Happy Hour podcast is going to sponsor it. And it's going to be our inaugural Agronomist Happy Hour virtual ice fishing derby.
Virtual. So could I catch fish in Iowa and participate? Or does it have to be from Devil's Lake?
This one will be on Devil's Lake.
Okay.
And so there's a couple catches in how we can kind of keep it confined to Devil's Lake. And so being virtual, it's all being on a phone app.
Tracked on your phone.
Yep. And so you guys are going to love the name of this app. It's obscure, it's goofy, but it makes it even better.
Yep.
It's called Fish Donkey.
Fish Donkey.
Again, I was sitting here trying to figure it out quick before he said it, and I was not going to a donkey.
Yep, you weren't going to guess it, like I said.
Yeah.
It just goofy name, but a family from one of the metro areas in Minneapolis that came up with this app. And they host fishing tournaments all over the country. And it's just a service where actual money can be exchanged. And there can be real virtual fishing tournaments where you in Iowa, someone in Michigan, someone in North Dakota could actually compete in a fishing tournament. This one will be confined to Devil's Lake. And so it's all done virtually. You take a picture of a fish on a measuring board. You record your measurement. You take a picture of you holding the fish.
Yeah. Remember the angles.
Yep. Got to get a good angle. Exactly. Make it look nice. And then it goes up to this live leaderboard. And so everyone participating can see this live leaderboard and see the pictures of the fish they're holding. And they'll go, no way, there's no way they caught a walleye that big or a pike that big. Yeah. They can go open it up. They can look at it and go, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, that's what that person looks like. Okay. So there's that component to it. But we found some sponsors for just this ice derby that have been very generous and are covering the cost of those measuring boards I'm talking about that you can measure fish on. We're having some custom ones made just for this virtual ice derby.
Oh, that is really cool.
So every participant that goes and pays to be part of this ice fishing derby will receive a custom measuring board that they can use for the ice fishing derby, and then a t-shirt. And we're going to host them at Woodland Resort. And so that's access onto the lake. So that's kind of how we're going to try to wrangle it and keep it on the lake. We don't care where you go fishing on the lake. And everything else is regulated through the app. The time that you can start entering stuff to the time it closes up, you just have to show up to the resort, pick up your stuff.
Probably get your code or whatever it is.
And it's a bait shop. So you can pick up your free stuff you're getting for entering the contest.
Yeah.
You could buy your bait, buy some Dots pretzels.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. Pick up a 12-pack of beer.
That's pretty much a necessity for ice fishing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty important.
Or hard liquor.
Usually both.
So does Woodland have enough lodging for all these people, or are they going to be where are they staying?
They're booked right now.
Okay.
So we're going to have to stick you in the town of Devil's Lake. We got plenty of hotels in there. So this was a one-day event. It was always the first Wednesday of the month of February, which this year is Groundhog's Day. We'll have some play on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys are Mario. You can see the gears turning here.
Uh-huh.
Well, now it's almost a 2-day event. So the first day we're going to have Kyle's brainchild here on the Agronomist Happy Hour virtual fishing tournament. But then our friend Bridget Riedel is doing a tweet up at Ty's Lodge. I think fire code is probably already tapped out on that deal. And then we gotta
find a new venue then.
Well, it's our second venue. We're moving to a second one because we can't accommodate. Ellingson Drainage Company and Stein Seed are having a band come in that night. So we got a band playing. And then we have a farmer friend, Pete Ness, who came up with, hey, you know what? It'd be really cool is if people brought like their vintage ag swag.
Oh, yeah.
Clothes stuff. And then we had like this red carpet catwalk kind of a thing, which I don't know if we're going to do, but we got judges for it.
Yeah.
And we'll probably,
now you got to do it.
Well, I know we do, but so people are going to wear stuff. They're going to come, and then we're going to have a Channel Seed is cooking an actual hog on the ice.
Wow.
And then they're going to do
that sounds... What's not ironic? Is that the way we're going to cook a hog on the ice?
Did they do that in Iowa?
Oh yeah, we cook hogs.
We roast hogs, but not on the ice.
Not on the ice. I do a crawfish boil.
Okay,
and
it's
we roast a hog.
It's also not on the ice,
but not on the ice. It's by a lake.
Oh, usually you get bonfires on the ice for us.
Yeah,
that's direct heat on the ice.
Yeah, I guess.
And then we've had a traditional. We've had a lot of Scandinavians in this group, and so there's a lot of lefse and rumegrout and lutefisk, and the Germans have finally had enough, and now war has been declared, and we were going to have sauerkraut and Wiener Schnitzel and mulled wine, and so be prepared for that.
See, I'm Norwegian. I'd like the lefse and the kumar and all that. That'd be
absolutely.
But I like it all.
Yeah, well.
But I don't think you could have done a better segue for us, because when you said German, another proud partner of the Farm4Profit podcast is Geringhoff. So the Geringhoff heads. I'm sure there's quite a few of those running up in your neck of the woods, and they are German-made, German-engineered. I shouldn't say German-designed. They're assembled in the United States, put together.
They got that big 24-row.
They do.
That thing's awesome.
And what? Did they just come out with a 50-foot draper?
I thought is it bigger than that? It might be bigger. I don't know.
Holy smokes. I can't imagine trying to watch 50 foot of Draper, if not 60. We should
Could we
look this
put
up.
one? Could we get a John Deere combine with a Gerenhoff head out on the ice? You got vendors out there?
Could you do that?
We had some John Deere equipment out, but not that big, not even close. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think they'd bring the combine on the ice. But they were doing, there were like 40 or 50 horse tractors, and they were doing demos on the ice. The local John Deere dealer was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yes, Gerenhoff, check them out. They're head of the class no matter the crop and a proud partner of the Farm for Profit podcast. I'm going to look this up while we chat to find out how big their biggest razor is.
And then what'd they come out with this fall? They got those extreme composition or decomposition.
Decomposition rolls. Yep.
XDs or whatever.
Yep. Got to pre-order them. Can't get them right now.
And they're the ones that you can take rows at any direction, correct?
They do have the bidirectional
one,
that they partnered with the Stein seed when Stein was going to the short plant. Was it 12-inch rows and shorter plants? Is what
Yes.
Stein was doing?
They're away from the 12s now. But
Right. But at the time, that's what this header was designed for.
We're going to have to send Stein a bill after this show.
No free ads. So what do you see the future of agronomy on ice being? I mean, obviously it kind of, and I don't want to sound judgmental, but to me it sounds like it's almost outgrown itself already.
No, I think we're just starting to tap it in. I mean, we're not really limited. You know, we probably got 60,000 acres of lake as our space.
I like his mentality.
Right? So-
We got a big lake. We're not tapped out.
Well, that's the biggest natural lake. I mean, Sakakawea is definitely a bigger lake in the state, but for the most part, it's trying to get just people there as to have discussions, and people bring their houses, and everybody's got different food, and it's a tailgating atmosphere, and if it's a nice day, and a nice day is probably going to be in the mid-20s and higher. No, I'm serious. That's a great day. If the wind isn't blowing,
If the wind's not blowing, that's warm.
yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. I had shorts on last year, and it was just for those.
I don't know about
He's-
shorts.
He's not lying.
Yeah.
He's not lying.
I can tell you right now, I have people from Idaho that are flying in, and we have people from Northwest Iowa that DM me on Twitter that are coming up, and I don't even know what Bridget's got going, but that's going to be fairly large. Kyle's got this in at the Game and Fish, and once they prove everything and we lay everything out, I think that's going to fill up extremely fast because what we've got proposed for prizes, it's a no-brainer. We have a community college in Devil's Lake and Lake Region State College, and they're raffling off a 2021 Glacier Ice House. So it's $100 a ticket. If you want to buy 10 tickets as a business, they'll put your logo up on the side of the house. They limit it to 20.
I was going to say, what happens if they run out of space?
Well, they're limiting to 20 spaces, correct?
Yeah, they are.
Right? Yeah.
So everybody's got a chance, and that's kind of a steep for a ticket, but it is, it's like a $30,000.
So when do they draw? At the beginning or the end?
We're going to do that, I think, the evening of the 1st.
So before. So if I didn't have a place to stay and put all my eggs in the ice house basket.
Some people play checkers. I see that you play chess.
I also am not lucky. So I'd be the guy that puts $10,000 worth of tickets in there and still doesn't win.
You would never buy that many because I know how
That's
tight you
true.
are as a banker.
I'm also a banker. Busted.
So this kind of sound like have either of you been to the Eel Pout Festival?
Oh, yes.
The what? Eel pallet?
Eel Pout,
I was like, why are
In
we
Minnesota?
putting eels on pallets?
and that's
Yeah,
like a
Walker.
party. That's like a party on ice, right? I've never been there.
Yeah.
I've heard things.
Have you heard of WeFest before?
I have not.
No. Again, that
Do you
was
guys
weed.
have
That was
a-
not weed.
No, not weed. Weed.
At the end of that, yeah.
It's a different
We could be an agronomy conference.
Do you have country music concerts like in the summertime here?
Oh, yeah.
Where you get like
Yeah,
big
yeah.
headliners? Okay.
We got Guthrie River Echoes. Used to be the Big Country Bash.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's what Eel Pulp Festival's like. Minus the country bands, but it's the crowd.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the crowd that comes there. That's a lot more wild of a time than Agronomy and Ice. Agronomy and Ice is, I don't know, maybe it'll get there, but I don't.
I don't want that.
I mean, I've always heard Eel Pouts like they got hot tubs out on the ice.
Yep.
And people are living in bikinis.
Yeah,
and
they
maybe
really
not,
do have a
and-
catwalk
Yeah.
on the ice out there, and they actually go construct their own like kind of structures out there where they'll drill a hole most of the way through the ice, puncture the ice, leave some kind of a bottom there, but the water can fill up, and they'll actually put stud 2x4s into the ice,
Right. Be like an actual structure.
Yep, be like a structure, and then they go wrap it in a big poly wrap and get heaters going. And they have like giant dances on the ice, and they have literally a catwalk where they have like a bikini catwalk.
My liability
Contest.
insurance does not cover that.
Not covering that part.
So agronomy and ice isn't quite that.
So we
wild.
can go there. That was he's leading into the where's it going part of the question.
Yeah, it's got room for it.
And I think Yield Pout is probably anywhere from between 6,000 to 10,000 people that attend.
It's quite a few.
Yeah.
But you guys, your growth in 1 year, or in this time frame, you're not far off in a couple years.
Yeah, and it's predominantly ag. I mean, you go to a football game and there's tailgating, and people think they got to get so much in their system to get in the game so they can cheer loud and that.
Right.
That's not how this is. Everybody's pretty calm and collected because it's the whole day. It's sunrise to sunset. I mean, we got other things going on. The Lake Region anglers are going to have a fish fry on the ice. We got just a number of people. I'm hoping to have a fairly decent fireworks display this year, just as
Fireworks on the ice.
Yeah, in the wintertime. That's kind of cool, especially if you got your moon out and everything's kind of fun. So, yeah.
I did want to go back to 20 degrees is warm up there. I've been snowmobiling in northern Wisconsin, trees everywhere. And I think it was like over New Year's 1 year, and it was a negative 30. And I was out there without a stocking hat or anything. Like, it's not like it is here.
Right, the wind.
When it's cold here, the wind is blowing 30 mile an hour.
Oh, don't worry. We get negative 30 with wind, and then you just don't go outside.
Yeah.
You just don't do it. I want to go back to the guy that has to tell you whether or not that 4 feet of ice is good ice or bad ice, and then has to live with himself to make sure that he made the right decision. I can imagine coring that and pulling it up and being like, oh, crap. I should have really paid attention in class.
We had to do that last year. Kyle Blanchfield at Woodland, they had their staff out there. When they moved the snow off, then when it gets cold, you get more depth of ice. I was probably texting him every 3 days, and he's like, "We'll be fine. I think it's," and then he'd say, "I think it's going to be fine." Yeah. And then we get a little stretch of cold, and he's like, "Yeah, we're going to be good," and we did. But they watched it for us, so it's been a good relationship. It's just kind of a fun event and something different, and I think that's the biggest attraction.
Yeah,
is that it's the same thing, but it's in a different venue. And you ever you go to meetings like we did? You sit from 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, and then they have social hour, and that's when the real discussion and the work starts. That's what we want.
so it's all
I did it
like that.
Yeah, I did a whole week at banking school that we were 8 to 5 every single day of instruction. And I think I pulled more out of 5 to 1 in the morning than I did of any of the sit-down instruction part of it.
Right.
And I like this idea. I think it's a great idea. I also think, because you alluded to it, you brought more than one. Why don't you guys reach in the cooler? We'll crack open another one to taste before we wrap up.
That sounds good.
Yep, I'll let you guys keep going. I'll go find it.
All right, sounds good. I want to get a question to Jason. If I'm not have my stories mixed up, you have a pretty miraculous story that involved an accident that I don't know if our listeners would know if they haven't listened to your podcast and heard you talk about that before. You broke both of your heels?
Wow, man, what is on that piece of paper?
Tanner, he digs pretty good.
Yeah, that's archaeologist here.
Do you have you ever met Delaney Howell?
We've had a conversation with her.
So I only bring that name up because that was my best work. I actually found out what her mom made when she was a child, what her favorite meals were cooked. That was borderline creepy homework.
Very creepy.
But it was so awesome to see her facial reaction. But yes, sorry. Tell your story. Yeah, what happened to your heels?
So I got asked to go out to Scobie, Montana for a meeting. And when I go out somewhere, I like to travel one way out and one way back just to see different things. So I've had this project the last 3 years. I have visited every town, that's in quotation marks, right? What defines a town in the state of North Dakota. If you're a town, you probably should have a water tower for sure. Next is probably a bar or a post office,
right?
Or a church or something that sets you apart. So I've been to every single one. So
Is that why you have pictures of churches on your Twitter and Instagram?
Yeah. So part of it's historical too. You get certain geographies of your state that were settled by different nationalities. And so I'm heading out to Scobie, and I got into a head-on collision where I would not recommend doing 140 miles an hour combined head-on. So I got hit right in the forward emblem of my truck. Accident happened, boom, down the ditch, rolled over. Feet feel like I dipped my knees down to my feet in gasoline, lit them on fire. So I had a bilateral, they call it a bilateral calcaneal fracture. So both your heels are crushed. So the heel is it's the hardest bone in your body, but it's like an egg. The outside is very hard and the inside is soft. So when you're walking on a trail or something and you're on a slant or in your yard mowing and it's kind of uneven, your feet do all this counterbalancing that makes sure you're stable. Boom. It's just like you drop the egg on the floor and poof, busted. One person died, one person's messed up. That person happens to be in Des Moines.
Really?
No kidding.
No kidding, yep. Yeah, you can find a lot of stuff on Facebook. I can't find the favorite food of somebody, but I can find that. And actually, my wife did. And then, so I was in physical therapy and doing all that, and I got to watch my step count. And so when you're an agronomist and you're in fields, if you're on the tractor tread in a field, that's a bad place to be because it's uneven. Your yard's uneven, you're deer hunting, you're on stuff, and your feet. I can do it, but I got to watch how many steps I take. It's better than the alternative. And to me, I got a second lease on life, so I'm making the most of it. And it's just how it is. So
you're on a step count, kind of like a pitch count.
Absolutely.
How many steps can you do in a day?
I'm about a 5,000 step person. I take a cortisone shot once a year. And I'm to the point now where I really need my cortisone. It's like I'm like really anxious to get it because it's almost like it puts this cushion of foam in your feet and things are good for the next 6 months. And then you get back out in the field and you're doing stuff or in the yard or whatever and you're like, well, this isn't too bad. But as the fall goes along, you can tell that it's getting worse. So, but the more cortisone you get, the worse your arthritis is. And if I had $1 for every time my doctor said arthritis, I could probably be your beer sponsor for this.
I can't imagine what that feels like because I don't even like walking on the tractor tread or the grain cart tread in a field after it's been wet anyway. But then you have to make that choice. Do you pick the row that has all the fluffed up corn stalks, shredded up leaves, all the fodder, or walk on the tread? And it just seems like a normal battle that I fight. Which route do I take? I can't imagine what your choice would be. I need to go someplace that has the most even place to be.
Just stay in the truck.
Just stay
drive
in the truck.
out there.
Yeah, the Ranger, the truck.
Yeah. So I'm a north and south type walker. I'm not an east and west type of thing. Soft ground, you got to watch out for. But there's just opportunity. Sand is bad. Snow is bad. Anything that's soft where your feet, I don't have that ability to do certain things. It could have been, I did not have any internal injuries. I did not have a neck injury or a head injury. And it was wild. Wow. And Kyle and I have been out. We've been to the spot where I got hit. We've been to the hospital. We talked to the nurses and second time around. And
I think we've given, or you've given Leah a lot of anxiety over, hey, we're going back to that stretch of highway where the accident happened. It's like, oh my God, why are you going there? And he goes, no, I want to go there. This is pre-COVID. We went up to Canada to, what was it, the Ag in Motion show?
Ag in Motion.
Yeah, so in, somewhere north of Saskatoon.
Yep.
Huge show, really fun to go to. But we went through the port of entry was Plentywood, Montana, so that was not far from where that accident happened. He goes, tell you what, I want to drive out to that spot. So we drove right to that spot, right to that bridge. There was no way to avoid that accident that happened. That was quite something. And then probably the best part of that trip was then driving back to Plentywood to the hospital where he initially was brought to. And he goes, I want to go into this hospital. I just want to walk around, check it out. And it kind of tells you like how unsecure hospitals really are.
I was just going to ask, can you really walk into a hospital and just walk around?
Turns out in Plentywood, Montana, you can.
Probably pretty trusting.
Well, the craziest part was it didn't even feel like it was open. Like half the lights were off. We walk in this backside where there's an open door. He's like, let's go this way. We start walking through and just empty hallways. And he goes, this doesn't look right. This doesn't look right.
He's wasting his 5,000 steps.
Yeah, he burned his steps up on that one. But we just We're driving for like the last 3 or 4 hours. So
Yeah.
keep walking. Finally, we get to a level where, okay, there's lights on here. He's like, oh, this looks familiar.
Oh, no.
Oh, he's like, oh, yep. Okay, yep. There's the room. There's where he was. There's nurse staff there. And then they get into this conversation. He's like, yeah, I was a patient here once. Like, well, from a head-on collision here, I don't know how many years ago it would have been at that point.
And they recognized you?
They're like, that's you. Yeah, immediately they did. They were like, oh, that's you. I'm like, yeah. So it was kind of cool to see that. My interpretation of it was that it was a gal who was in an extremely bad relationship. I don't know if her boyfriend was beating the hell out of her or there was a fight, but she wanted out, and that was how she got out of it. It was like a suicide.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you said you were hit right in the middle of the emblem, that's not usually unintentional.
No.
Right.
And she hit me when she was doing 70, and she had almost 200 feet of rubber where when she was braking, so there's this two black streaks that just go into the lane when she hit me. So she had to be probably doing 90 at least when she started this. And I was
Like she had a change of heart?
No, she just decided this was the place. I was in the bridge. I couldn't go anywhere.
Right.
So if I would have been there, I could have probably taken the ditch or gotten out of her way. Couldn't do that.
Oh, my gosh.
So, but it is what it is, and you just kind of adapt and go from there. So,
Yeah.
Well, you're still walking around.
I always tell everybody, thank God it didn't hurt my liver.
I don't know if we've had a better podcast set up for transitions than these guys. They are lobbing up softballs for us. Yeah. I love this.
This
All right.
one looks interesting.
It isn't even on the website. Like I tried to pull up the Stone Home Brewing website to get more information on this beer. So this has got to be a special one.
I think it is, yeah.
So what's the story behind this one? Because I don't think we've ever had anything like this.
There's not a whole big story about it, but when I saw it, I go, yep, we're grabbing this because this has to come up or come down to Iowa.
There you go.
Yeah, it had to come down. So I actually had it during one of our happy hours. Yeah, and I thought it was a special run. But yeah, it's from Stone Home Brewing. It's called Saturday Sunday. It's a strawberry milkshake IPA.
Which seems like an oxymoron. It is a pink can, bright red letters with a big strawberry on it. And when I think IPA, I'm not thinking strawberries.
No, but when you open it, you can get a whiff.
Yeah.
There's a fruity whiff.
And it is smooth.
Yeah.
Dave needs to try this one.
We've got extras, so
He probably still wouldn't like it, but I mean, it's not a punchy in the mouth like a real strong IPA.
Right.
5.1 ABV. Well, only 27 IBUs.
Yeah, it's pretty smooth. So that's one of the things we do on our podcast too. Is it's different how he does the math versus I do the math.
I was
But,
wondering if you're going this direction.
but I think Iowa probably has a somewhat of a love affair with Busch Light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I've seen plenty of Iowa State games, and it's just absolutely insane. And
I've seen a combine before. I don't know who that guy
There is
is.
a combine
But
running around in the country.
yeah, they're
Busch Light on the side.
crazy. Yeah, and North Dakota's that way. So one of the things we do is we take and make we call it the BLE, which is the Busch Light equivalent.
Equivalent. yes.
Because and he does it based on percent, and I do it based on the percent. But generally, most craft beers are 16.
Okay.
And a lot of Busch Lights are in a 12 ounce. So you got 25% more volume to deal with, and so the math is so it's just like a fertility conference. You're trying to figure out the.
Just like that's the exact parallel.
Yeah.
Yep. The exact parallel.
We do like our Busch Light, and that probably came around. I mean, I've been a Busch Light drinker for a long time, but I feel like Busch Light overtook Bud Light. I don't know, 2010, somewhere in there. I feel like Busch Light was like a natural light or a.
And then really took over when the
Keystone.
Super Bowl commercial came out
Yeah.
in 2018, 17, 18.
oh, when Bud Light
When they did the
said they
corn
don't use corn syrup.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a rice beer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the same company, but a different beer, said, well,
Which
we
is
make,
funny because it killed Bud Light because there was, I would say, I would agree the phenomenon was
Yeah.
about the same timeline for us
Yep.
because you could find Bud Light
And
everywhere.
Coors Light was just on the ball, Johnny on the spot. I mean, like, hey, we are doing a tour right now, going to these bars on these dates, and we are supporting the farmers because we are made with corn.
I kind of look at Coors in this situation, kind of like when you look at the pro football teams. You ever seen the ones where the Packers and the Vikings kind of the fans fight?
Oh, yeah.
And then you got the Chicago Bears fan. Well, that's Coors Light.
Well, I think it's funny. So we're only about 15 minutes away from Iowa State University. Of course, there's 2 major universities in this state, and a lot of people are Hawkeye fans or Cyclone fans. And right now at our Fairway store for the last 3 weeks has been a shopping cart at the end of the frozen pizza aisle with Bud Light Hawkeye bottles in it for sale, on sale, reduced price, and they're still there. So people are not buying Hawkeye bottles of Bud Light beer.
Or maybe like once a week, and then they go refill it because they got a pallet in the back.
It still can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
But I think that goes to show what we've got going on.
We have a pretty serious Busch Light following in our state, though.
Yeah.
To the tune of, there's usually a big sale. It's Upham,
Upham.
I think is where they do it.
These
30
town names are just fascinating. Upham.
I mean, I would have probably said like Upham.
Yeah, people do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a horse apiece. But people will fill their pickup box flush to the top with 30 racks of Busch Light.
It's a good sale.
I can't remember what the sale price is, but it is good enough where I don't know what the shelf life on that is as far as the individuals that buy truck box quantities.
Well, if you're buying it for agronomy on ice.
Yeah.
If I remember right, that sale was coincidentally only like 2 weeks before Agronomy on Ice last year.
Oh, that was perfect. I don't think you could have done that any better. Well, good. Well, before we wrap up, we always ask our guests the same question. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that question or not, if you've heard it before, but we like to prep you before we spill into it. So what do the most successful farmers or the most successful people that you know have in common? So what's a common trait or a common characteristic? When you think of the most successful people in your life, what do they have in common? But we don't want people to forget, if they want to check out Agronomy on Ice, that is Groundhog's Day or the day before this year, you can go to agronomyonice.com. Same thing, Rock and Roll Agronomy, rockandrollagronomy.com. They've got a link right there to their podcast, the Agronomy Happy Hour. The Happy Hour. You should be calling it the Happy Hour.
Oh, there we go.
There we are. I know.
Maybe that's their tour.
it. Yeah.
You're going to sneak that one
there
in.
you go.
Hey, there we go.
Do we got to pay royalties now that you got that?
You and Stein
Are you
getting the
gonna
same
give
bill.
All it took was a couple of IPAs to get that creative.
I've got a couple questions before that. I mean, I'm not done. I mean,
fire away.
or let's do it in the after show.
We can do an after show. So check them out. Agronomy on Ice, rockandrollagronomy.com, or you can follow that link to the Agronomy Happy Hour for their podcast. So guys, before we do the formal wrap up and then kick into the after show, what do the most successful people or farmers that you know have in common?
I'll go first. I think that people that they have a peer group and they listen to other things and they don't get so wrapped up in what they're doing, because people have a tendency that what I am doing is so important. But if you've got a group you listen to and take care of what other people are doing and paying attention to, I think the quiet kind of slow progression things in people, that's what I see.
I like that.
There's kind of 2 things that I think of when you ask that question that really come to mind for me. And one of them is they're never afraid to just do it. That's one that I always see the most successful people that I work with, is they're not afraid to do it. They're just like, hey, this is something we need to do. Let's go do this. And then the second thing is, it seems like they're always humble. Like Jason was saying, they're never holding something back. Mm-hmm. They always want to share. Some of the most successful people I've ever met like to share what's made them successful.
Right.
That's probably one of the best attributes I've ever met with some of the most successful people I've met, is that they don't care.
Right.
They'll give you the roadmap.
Yeah. That's a great point. We had our show that just came out this week. Naeem has kind of said the same thing, that some of the best farmers will want to collaborate. It's not a secret. Yes, there's a little competition in your neighborhood. We get that. There always will be. But it's still not to the point to where if you found something that really, truly works, you want to share it with others. You want to help them be better too.
Yep.
Right, and that comes back to like Bridget Riedel's tweet up. Just ways to socially get together and share, and it's easy to do those things when it isn't somebody you're competing with or a neighbor. All that, you can be more open. You feel less.
Yeah,
I had to talk a guy not off the ledge, but down this week was just like, oh, how do these guys do that? How do they own that? How do they get that new tractor? And how that? And it's like, I was like, hey man, I get it. Like, you can eat yourself up, looking at your neighbors and all that kind of stuff. But like, just focus on you. You're doing great. Like, you're doing more than most. So just don't let it eat at you. It's tough. And also the peer group thing. What did you and Dave used to say? You had a buzzword. What was your peer group? Oh, come on. I'm putting you on the spot here.
I know you are. Our advisory team?
Yeah, the advisory team. I haven't heard you guys say advisory team for like half a year.
We didn't want to annoy anybody.
Well, I mean, it was getting to the point. But same thing.
It's true. You get people around you that you trust.
Yep.
Have the same type of vision, understand your goals. And if you can put that together, it's a really good circle or square or whatever you want to make a shape out of it that can really help make yourself better.
When you get in that position of trust with people, you'll give a very high percentage of what you do, but everybody kind of holds back just a little. That's still your competitive advantage, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody has a certain talent that they can do that sets them apart, and they like to still have that. And that's okay. That's the fun part of it, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then that allows freedom for someone else to add their twist.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, good. Well, I can tell Corey's over here dancing. So why don't we take a quick little break, and we'll kind of wrap up the formal show here. Thanks again. Outback Wraps, outbackwrap.com, 20% off if you use Farm4Profit. John Deere, a great partner. Gehringhoff heads match fantastically with the John Deere Combine. Go check those guys out. Let them know that you heard it here on Farm4Profit. And we will be right back after we drain our bladders.
You better hurry, buddy.
So, listeners, we're back from our break, and our break turned into a conversation, which turned into a phone call with Bridget. What's your username on Twitter, Bridget?
I am BM Riedel.
So this is a bonus in the after show. Corey just had a couple questions he wanted us to wait for, and now we've got Bridget on.
Yeah, we could get on to Bridget. What were you calling Jason for?
That would be information I cannot disclose at this time.
She was digging in her freezer, so what's for supper?
We're about to have a sloppy joes tonight. Homemade buns. Can you all be here in an hour?
Homemade buns. I could go anywhere for homemade buns.
Yeah.
I like the way y'all think.
So now hold on. A sloppy joe. Okay, so what goes into a sloppy joe recipe?
Burger, and then you make, essentially, if you opened a jar of manwich, except you can make that on your own, don't forget to add the chopped green peppers and onions.
So you're making a tavern.
What?
Sure. Some people call them slush burgers, barbecues.
Oh, you don't call it a tavern?
Maybe a Maid-Rite.
No, a Maid-Rite has no sauce.
What in the world are you guys talking about?
What dimension are we living in here?
No,
This is some strange world.
A Maid-Rite and a beef burger are the same thing. They are just ground beef on a bun, and then you add your ketchup or your peppers. That's a Maid-Rite or a beef burger. A tavern is sauced already. So if you dip your spoon into the pan to put it on your bun.
I've never heard that before.
Right, Bridget? Am I too far?
I'm concerned you don't live right there. Now, do understand the common denominator here is whether or not you have a cold beer to go with it.
Oh, guess what? We've got plenty of that.
That's true. No,
Where'd your beer go?
Find the cooler, Okie.
You got to dig another one.
I'll work on getting more beer. Okay.
All right, get us the third beer.
Jason was empty-handed.
Yeah.
Shocking.
I know. What a problem. So, for our listeners that are going to come to Agronomy on Ice, what do they have to do? What is something that you can't not do if you're going to go to Agronomy on Ice?
First of all, you'd best block out a couple of days, kids. There's a lot of events. And the one I don't want you to miss would be the tweet up on Tuesday night, which is like the precursor to the full show at Agronomy on Ice. So, Tuesday, February 1st, in Devil's Lake, North Dakota, at Ty's Lodge. Let's have a good time and network, shall we?
I love it.
And we're going to take a John Deere combine with a Gearinghoff corn head out on the ice. They said we could. As long as it's quality ice. No.
We must have quality ice. We did have a different fellow from out of state last year ask if that could be done. No one felt it was a good idea, but that doesn't mean it couldn't happen.
Maybe like a track company would be like you're spreading the weight out.
That's right. Put a John Deere on Camoplast, no free ad tracks.
Are you two familiar with the ice depthness chart and safeness of
No.
what?
No.
Oh, Bridget, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, I
The
do.
ice safety charts. You remember the one that has the woolly mammoth on it? You think a woolly mammoth and a X9 combine would be relatively the same weight?
Maybe we'll have to
I
get
was thinking 2 woolly mammoths, actually.
That might be 2 woolly mammoths.
We'll have to get like S760 or something, like a little one.
So now we're measuring these IPAs in Busch Light equivalents and combines in woolly mammoth equivalents.
Right.
So you can tell, Bridget, where this podcast has gone.
Well, frankly, with considering there will be a vintage ag swag contest, perhaps instead of the new X9, how about somebody brings a vintage 7700?
There you go.
Oh, I was going to go back to what? A John Deere 95? Was it a
Oh, grew up
95?
with one.
The old ones?
Yep.
9500?
Tiny cabs.
Oh.
No,
Yeah.
just a 95. Some didn't
Yeah,
even
just a
have
95.
cabs.
That's what I need. Like when they decide that we're not going to have the Busch Light wrap on the combine anymore, I need like an old one
For
that
parades.
just sits there for parades and that I can still live through it because I'll be so sad when it's gone.
Have you guys seen the, is it K-State that has the purple combine that they bring to tailgating?
Yeah.
K-State has one. Iowa
Yeah,
Hawkeyes
Iowa
have
Hawkeyes
one.
have a
that's
black one.
Black,
Oh.
yeah. Iowa State
That one-
doesn't.
the Hawkeyes one looks like a demo derby combine.
Yeah, it does.
Oh,
It's nothing special. Don't worry
Ashton
about it.
But that's only because the Hawkeyes get beat up in so many football games,
Exactly.
Oh, I like Bridget.
what? How did she show up? And what?
What
right?
happened?
People ask that all the time. She just slips in and there she is.
There she is. Doesn't pass up an opportunity.
Oh, this beer's good.
Oh, I didn't even open it yet.
Yeah, no, it's.
I talked too much. I didn't even get
Ribbon
the first one.
Man.
drinking.
This is Ribbon Man. Yeah, this is a DCR. This is a Drum Conrath. Where I found this, so it's an Irish red, which I really like. But what sells it for me is the raw 2 malt, which is malting in our state is big. They secure a lot of barley, and I don't know if it just tastes better because that's the case, but that's like a shout out to Brian Schatz. You know, that's good beer.
No farmers, no barley, no beer. Named for the secret society of Irish farmers who took up arms against the tyrannical government. I can't believe I said that the right way.
It's a terrible thing to be hungry, but it's a way worse thing to be dry.
I cannot believe you guys didn't give him a Guinness for that. He did that even without one.
Looks good. I'm going to take my first taste. This is the first time that I haven't tasted it before talking about it.
Irish red, just like your hair.
It's getting darker.
Your hair or the beer?
We should have had Bridget on the whole time.
Ginger.
Yeah, that's true.
This is good. This is full. So we're going from a strawberry milkshake IPA, Bridget, into this. So if you can imagine the taste differences.
Oh my.
29 IBU. What's that on the Busch Light equivalent?
I don't know. IBU does not play into
It's
that.
the ABV.
Yep, it's the ABV.
Don't worry,
Oh.
he's a slow learner.
5.5.
So it's 2.
Okay, here. let me
1.9.
get the old risk
We're gonna get-
calculator out
we're
here.
gonna get the math
1.8.
going.
You're going to get 2 numbers. You're going to get Oakie's number and you're going to get my number.
You said 5.5. Oh, yeah, there it is.
So Bridget,
5.5.
the homemade buns, is this a family
Yes.
recipe?
Actually, I got it from a college friend of mine. Her mom used to make them all the time in college. And if she was going home, we literally would throw cash at her for gas money if she'd bring homemade buns back for us. So I have her mom's recipe now.
Oh, that's really cool. That was the skilled podcast transition while these guys did math, in case they needed more time to get that done. So what'd you come up with? How many Busch Lights is it?
You're a good one there. So if you're using my method, which is just percent by percent.
Okie method.
Yep, Oki's method.
Yeah.
Then it's a 1.3 BLE.
Okay, 1.3 Busch Lights.
But if you're going to do it like Hanson, because this is a 16-ounce can, It's a 1.75
Oh.
BLE.
Almost 2. Almost 2.
Yeah.
Almost 2.
But that's not apples to apples.
That's
It's not.
You know what my kids say? Almost is the same as not.
We're gonna have to. We're gonna have to.
That
start
was
bringing
basically
in,
what.
25 ouncer.
That almost is the same as not must have been what they said when they were late for curfew. I almost made it, Dad. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
But you didn't. Well,
Bridget, we're going to have to let you go as we wrap up here, unless you want
Sure.
to hang out for the rest of this. But I promise we will make Jason call you back.
That is no problem. We will talk when he has time, but I'm just here to encourage folks to make sure they come to Agronomy on Ice. Start with the tweet up, and then don't forget to watch the agronomyonice.com website so you don't miss any of the events.
Awesome.
you're gonna have to start rounding up some charters.
Yeah.
Buses, yeah. Buses.
We
Maybe
could
a
get one
plane.
out of Central Iowa. Now that we know who's going from Northwest Iowa,
Yeah.
we could get a nice little bus chartered up there.
Yeah, I'll drive up to them, and they can just fly us up.
I did get.
There we go.
Oh, wow. Jason and Kyle, just so you guys know, I got a message yesterday. There's a couple of guys coming from Hannibal, Missouri. They are already booking their hotel rooms and plan to drive on up.
Wow.
Show me states
The
coming up
timing
here.
of
Huh?
this is crazy because you guys have been talking about this for like months,
I know.
and I feel like it's a long ways away. I can't plan anything that far in advance.
It is not far away. Kyle and I only have to do 2 more videos to release before it's right here.
You're right.
It's not like harvest.
No.
That's pretty good. Awesome. Bridget, if people want to find you again on the old Twitter box, how do they find you?
At BM Riedel. Look forward to hearing from everybody.
Awesome. Thank you for a little surprise appearance here in the after show. And we're going to get some of Corey's questions answered and signed off. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks, folks. Have a great night.
All right. See you,
ya.
Bridget.
See ya.
See ya. Night.
All right, Corey, it's your time to shine.
All right, you guys on TikTok?
So last week we had our happy hour.
Last week, like literally last week?
Yes.
Literally last week we had our happy hour with Marcia Cripps. Matter of fact, last week tomorrow night. So not even 7 days yet.
So we're talking middle of November for listeners that don't know when this is being recorded.
Yeah, middle of November.
2021.
I have not made an official TikTok yet,
Yeah.
but I have joined TikTok and I am thoroughly entertained.
You're one of the creepers in the background then.
I am a creeper right now. I am a creeper right now.
And Marcia she's the pageant agronomist, right? Like, or she was a
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
She's one of my favorite follows on Twitter and TikTok. I like her stuff.
Yeah, she is a really fun follow on all her social. Just wait till you talk to her.
Yep.
It gets even better.
We need to get her on the podcast.
Yes, you do.
She's just very outgoing, outstanding. She got so many things going on. It's always an interesting, and for us, it was just to talk to somebody who knows things outside of our comfort zone. And so her thing is potatoes, and then from there it just spilled over into so many other things.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Wow, you boys got to get on the TikTok."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well," and Kyle jumped, and
Jason, you're not on yet.
I haven't done it. I mean, I got the angel on one shoulder and I got the devil on the other.
You haven't. You couldn't have been living under a rock though that you've never seen a TikTok.
I have seen it.
He's on Instagram. That's a TikTok dumping ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's been talked about on this podcast quite a bit.
Right. So I do Snapchat, I do Twitter, which is probably the predominant thing. And it's interesting because we were listening to your guys' podcast coming up here. It was a Tony Reed episode.
Oh, yeah.
And TikTok references. And it got very interesting in the dynamics of follows and how things go, and one viral tweet and boom, explodes and on it goes. And you're like, holy buckets. How?
And it's a moving target though, because like that show is completely different. Like, because that was a year ago,
Right.
Yeah.
and now it's a year later, and it's not the same anymore. It's crazy.
And the only reason we were listening to the Tony Reed show was because he had the other one. I'm trying to think of what's his name, but the Listen Here guy.
Yeah, Justin.
Justin.
Justin
Super
Danger.
Grande.
Henley.
Yeah, Justin Danger.
Yep. It is. It's a fascinating platform. And I think, the tricky part that you now have is a mission, because you need 1,000 followers in order to go live. You need to gain 1,000 followers between now and Agronomy on Ice.
I better get busy.
So that fashion show can be TikTok live.
You want to be in the fashion show, don't you? You've got something in the back closet. I know you do. It's so killer. If there's money involved, you want to win.
I think what would be cool is if you guys sell some of the stuff at the end, because I'm like a old school swag like collector kind of. I can't fit into any of it because back in the 80s and 70s, everyone was smaller.
130 pounds.
Yeah.
I feel your pain.
Tanner could fit into it.
I will tell you that I had somebody snap me, and they have a DeKalb seed corn bag that they found in the last week, and it looks prime from the 1950s.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No mice or nothing.
No, it was. Where did you find this thing? Oh, I was in a building. My dad and a friend, they blah, 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 this and that. I'm like, you need to bring that just so people can see it to where they're accustomed to what their bags are now.
Sure.
It'll be a size thing. It'll be, you need to bring that.
Yeah.
And so that'd be kind of cool.
I just think that would be a lot of fun. Yes, it's a big undertaking to get 1,000 people to follow, but listeners now, we're going to have to get in the show notes his username so we can maybe help get him there because we want Agronomy on Ice live on TikTok.
Okay.
And I think everyone that we've talked to that's big on TikTok kind of finds their niche or however. I've been watching one, Nicole.
Yep. Nicole Sexteen.
She's been doing going over soil sample results.
Oh, yes.
And she worked for Bayer.
Yes.
And it's just like, okay, she should just keep doing this. That's
her spot.
That is and she's very good on.
She's
just like
excellent.
Justin.
Yes.
Just like Justin was saying, listen here.
And I listened to that one, and that's where I got my gears turning. And so when I joined it, I'm like, I'm just observing, seeing how TikTok works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've already thought kind of where my niche will be.
Yeah.
In there. So.
And it doesn't have to be 5 million followers. You can have a lot of success with 1,000 people.
It's just like us doing this podcast. You find the cadence, you find the pace, you find what it takes to prep for it, which in our case is really no prep. But
especially today.
Yep, we just wing it. No, this is how we do ours every time.
But we found people that were at this conference that knew who we were just because of that.
Dave the other day was in a restaurant, walked in the front door of the restaurant, and a guy leaving walked up to him and said, "Hey, I love your podcast. You guys do great work." He has no freaking idea who it is.
I don't know who that was.
So if you're listening, you need to send Dave a message and say, "Hey, that was me."
No, we do that. There's other avenues. I mean, it's always interesting to listen to different platforms and what you guys do because it makes you think about, I never thought of that. I wasn't going to get involved in it, but maybe I should. I mean, we do something on Snapchat called Ag Mafia, and it's kind of a group of ag professionals so you can see what ag professionals do in sometimes different times of the year because, what does a seed guy do in March or April?
Yeah.
Now you're getting ready for delivery or doing this and that, but there's other things too. So we just try different things, but man, I don't know. If I tell my kids I'm on the talk,
they're going to lose it.
Oh,
they're going to be like, "Oh my God, Dad."
Corey does that to my TikToks.
Yeah.
Cringeworthy.
Yeah.
Cringeworthy.
Standards are pretty bad.
He'll send me a message like, "Yeah, that was cringeworthy." 9 out of 10, cringeworthy.
And it's because of Egg Mafia. I'm thinking of the things I've done on the couple of times I've taken over. The things I do where all of a sudden the inbox on that Snapchat just comes in with all these questions like, "Holy crap, can I get that video? Can you explain more about what's going on?"
Yeah.
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
So I'll
That's
try.
good.
I'll see what I can do. I'm not very good at social media, but I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
It just takes a run.
My last question is we haven't really talked about ag in North Dakota. Right? Like, what's your guys' bread and butter? I know it's not.
No, they don't do nothing up there.
I know it's beer. Yeah, Agronomy on ice.
Ice and beer.
Yeah, but like corn is not your guys' staple, right?
Well, we're no Iowa, by any means when it comes to corn, but we've corn is probably in our state number 3.
I think so.
Yeah. Soybeans.
I'm actually kind of surprised it's that high.
Yeah, no, it's big.
Boy, you're challenging us now on this. I'm trying to think of the acreage. I
think soybeans were number 1.
Wheat and soybeans
they go back and forth.
They go back and forth, and that's usually right around like the 6-something million mark on acres. So they'll roughly be an equal amount for
Soybeans,
Soybean.
corn, and wheat are number 1, 2, and 3 in value.
According to
Google.
farmprogress.com.
2016.
Yep. And in our part of the world, we have drastic changes between years.
But
because
you guys do what? Flax and lentils?
there's got to be somewhere upwards of over 15 crops that are common, but not every farm is growing 15 crops. I would say on average, a farm will have 4 to 5 crops.
Yep. I work with my farmers that I consult on. Generally, there's a lot of 3 to 4, but my highest guy is 7. Number of crops. We got edible beans, we got flax, we got canola, we got field peas, we got garbanzo beans,
Yep.
sunflowers, potatoes, sugar beets, corn, soybeans, sunflowers. You got spring wheat. You got 6-row barley, 2-row barley.
Durum, and then you
wheat.
start getting into the goofy stuff like safflower or buckwheat.
What triticale?
Winter wheat.
There's some triticale that's out there. A lot of winter rye that's actually grown for seed.
Yep.
Okay.
Gee, Chris, so the USDA says in 2017, North Dakota led the nation in the production of dry edible beans, navy beans, pinto beans, canola, flaxseed, honey, and drum wheat.
Durum.
Durum.
Or
Come
durum.
on.
Pasta.
Jeez.
Pasta.
Every time I see pinto bean, or no, not pinto bean, navy bean, meatloaf sandwich, sloppy Joe, sloppy Joe.
Sloppy Joe's, right. Taverns. Yeah, we got this right.
Not a tavern.
Yeah.
Not a tavern.
Number 2 producer of lentils, black beans, and the great northern beans, and all wheat and sunflower. So, holy crap to the number of crops. Almost agronomy is easy in Iowa because it's corn and soybeans. A little bit of covers.
Yeah, you guys are like the tree huggers delight from down here. Like they want us to grow all that.
It's,
Right? Just rotate between 10 different crops.
Right.
my first job was in Minnesota, and I had 3 crops. I had corn, soybean, and alfalfa, and it was amazing how exceedingly good you could get at those 3 crops when that's all you saw. I mean, you could go into a field and you could just pick out, this is, back in the day, it was Pioneer 3751. You knew what that was. You could pick stuff out, and then transition back to North Dakota, and it was a whole different ballgame because of the diversity of crops, the number of varieties. I guess that's for us. That's kind of the fun of it too. Yeah.
I enjoy the heck out of the variety, but when I said I work for a nationwide company, I have a lot of cohorts that do the same thing I do. Like there's 2 in Iowa. There are 2 in Minnesota, 1 in Wisconsin, 1 in Illinois. They're in all the states, I guess, representatively, as far as where there's agriculture.
Yep.
But I feel like I'm on an island sometimes with just a couple of the others that most of it revolves around corn and soybeans, and their level of knowledge on corn and soybean production far exceeds anything I could ever do.
Yeah.
Because I can't take that kind of capacity to those crops. I get asked the most obscure questions when it comes to crop production. I feel like a jack of all trades instead of a master on a couple different things.
I was going to go with master of none.
What is the full quote? It's a jack of all trades and a
Master of none.
but a jack of all trades is better than a master of one, or something like that.
Right, I think so. Yeah, there's a full saying there. Yeah.
Which that's the fun part of social media is then you can connect with those people that are really super good at that.
Yep.
And find out and learn from them and connect, and that's what's really awesome, I think. So
what's your maturities of corn and soybeans up there? Like your range that you?
Oh, you'll love this. 75 day to at the northern border. 75 day is the earliest, and then we'll go down into the late 95 day.
Okay.
Is the far south border.
Which we'll dip into some 95 days in northern Iowa, and we planted some 75 day once for the previous company I worked for, just to have something to take out early to set the combines on.
We still use 75 day to take something out early.
And you talk to people like from Texas, they're like, I didn't even know they made corn that early.
Our sweet corn 75 days.
I was just going to say that.
Well, I was going to say the sweet corn we grow, and although we don't grow any commercial sweet corn, but your garden sweet corn you can buy, a lot of it's like 67 day.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty early. Yep.
Yeah.
Super, super short.
Raccoons love it too. It's the same.
That's normal.
Yep. It doesn't matter the maturity.
Yeah, and soybeans, it starts from the double aught maturities, the really early ones. Canada has a triple aught,
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, you go
Bad
into
zeros.
Yep, 000 if you get into Manitoba.
Okay.
I'm going to plug a real quick story in here.
You better.
I had an opportunity one time to go to Moscow, Russia, and they wanted somebody to go there and talk about early maturity soybeans. And so me and my friend Mark Huso got to go there. And when we got there, so like Kyle just said, 00 beans, right? That's their late maturity.
Oh.
What?
Yes. And they're all non-GMO because it's the EU and that part of the world. So the late maturity was a 00 bean. Their mid-maturity was a 000, and their early was a quadruple 0, which I didn't know they even made that.
I guess I didn't know this
Did they
story.
plant-
Quad 0?
They
Quad
plant
zero.
this in the snow and then they harvest in the snow? Is that how that?
They water it with vodka?
Yeah.
Just gonna say, we're just gonna make a vodka
All
joke.
the
You beat me
off-grade
to it.
vodka gets pumped into their irrigation.
It's a very unique situation over in that part of the world, and they were trying to produce soybeans to try to supply China because of the demand there. And in Russia, it was interesting because there was all kinds of being non-GMO and the way their agriculture system's set up. You think you go into a place and you know what you know, but you have no idea what's going there. And then, yeah, you end up sitting having dinner, and yeah, there probably was some vodka involved.
Yeah. So they probably should stick to more of the wheat. They're big wheat, right?
Yeah.
They're also huge in sunflower.
Yep.
Okay.
The North Dakota might be number 2 in sunflower, and South Dakota might be number 1, and that represents probably 95% of the sunflowers in the United States, or North America, period.
Right.
But we're like, I want to say maybe 10% of the world,
Oh, geez.
and most of it's the Ukraine and Russia
Yeah.
Wow.
that grow sunflower.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I asked Tanner Malang this because he grows sunflowers. Have you guys ever heard of curry seed sunflowers?
Curry seed.
Curry?
Is that a brand?
Like the pre-Hogemeyer.
CURRY.
Yep.
Yeah, they were out of Elk Point, South Dakota.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's
yeah.
and they're not curry anymore. It's now Hogemeyer.
Oh, yes.
Which
I know.
I sell seed for, or we sell sunflowers. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with these. Like down here in Iowa, like, yeah, we had the option to sell them. I sold some for some like doves.
I was going to say,
There you go. There's your market right there. Is dove hunting.
that is a market, and yes, there are sunflower company or sunflower seed brands that are sold just for birds.
Yeah.
For food plots.
You can get them a lot cheaper from other places, when you're not trying to grow them for seed.
Right.
Well, our market for sunflowers is really tough because when you have wet conditions, which we can have in the eastern part of the state, disease is bad. And when you're in any area around sloughs or whatever, the blackbirds eliminate your sunflowers. It's just, and whatever the blackbirds don't eat, the mourning doves do.
If there is a disease, it catches it.
Yeah.
If there's an insect, it eats it.
It's
There is a reason why the bulk of sunflower acres are grown in a very arid environment.
yeah.
So who grows the sunflowers that you pick up at the gas station and chew and spit?
A lot of those are actually grown, they're grown all over the state of North Dakota and South Dakota, but I would say more predominantly it's in the eastern half of those states.
Yeah.
They'll call them confectionery sunflowers.
Okay.
And all the processing facilities are up and down the Red River Valley.
Yeah,
Nice.
you got oil based.
I was gonna say a lot of it's oil based, right?
Yep.
The black ones.
Yep. And then you get confections, which then you'll have anywhere from fairly large seed to what they call jumbos. And a lot of the jumbos they export to like Italy. You and I eat sunflowers. We like throw a bunch in our mouth and we do that.
Right.
Italy, they eat them one by one.
Well, they do everything fancy, though.
I know. That's just
Everything's over the top.
yeah.
Yes, it is. The small forks, the small spoons.
I got so bored with sunflowers during high school baseball that I started chewing pistachios instead. Like before pistachios were cool, and drill a hole in, and we had AstroTurf inside the dugout. It was blue, or I can't remember, but the coach got so freaking pissed because they were used to sunflower seeds, but then the pistachio shells were just huge and like you could trip over them.
Who's the guy spitting these out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like we're going to need to put an extra intro in front of this saying, you do have to listen to the end of this podcast. There is value all the way through
Yep.
this.
That was the end of your Major League Baseball
That
career.
was, yeah. Blew my elbow out shortly after. It broke my foot too, and that was it. No.
Oh, yeah. Tough times.
Well, good. We didn't get to send everybody off the right way in the pre-show.
No.
So, gentlemen, thanks for making the short trip down after a long trip over and a short one up. They've been all over the freaking place.
Yeah.
But we're happy to have the members of the Agronomist Happy Hour. Jason with Rock and Roll Agronomy. And then Kyle Oakey, not from Muskogee.
Not from Muskogee.
But he is from Muskogee on his Twitter handle.
Yep. For joining us. But been a lot of fun. Nice after show. We haven't had an after show for a while.
I think they might be our first North Dakota guest.
I'd say so.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, happy to break the ice.
Yeah. Hopefully Iowa's been treating you good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Iowa's great. Love to be down here.
It's a lot of fun.
Great meetings, great pubs, great people, great weather.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Worst weather day of the year for us. Great. It's great. We're in shorts.
All right, Corey, send us out.
Thanks, Dahl, for letting us have some North Dakota beers. Crack one of these North Dakota beers. They're pretty good. You deserve it.
Gearinghoff.
Remember, if you aren't farming for profit, you won't be farming for long.